Hello, this is Father Michael Nasser coming to you from St. Nicholas Orthodox Church here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, with this week's Midweek Reflection. And this week I am reflecting on part 2 of a 3-part series as a supplement to the 5-part sermon series on prayer. So, last week we looked at the first of 3 things we need if we're going to be better at being consistent and thorough and deep with our prayer, and that was scheduling. Things that don't go on our schedule tend to not happen. So scheduling, that was point number 1 on what we need. Today I want to focus on point number 2 of the things that we need if we're going to be better at praying and praying more often and praying more deeply. And that is something that a lot of us struggle with in all kinds of area in our life, and that is discipline. And you think about it, when you talk about and you think about your own discipline, we often talk about it as either I have good discipline or I don't have good discipline. The reality is it's not something you have or don't have. It's something that you exercise or don't exercise. Why don't we exercise it more often? Because so often we think that the things to be disciplined about and facing up and doing them feel to us like this kind of heavy burden, this weight, almost even like a punishment. Well, guess what I learned when I learned about the meaning and the history of the word discipline? That idea of being disciplined is like facing punishment. That's not accidental. Actually, that's how the word was used for most of its history in the English language. And you kind of know this. When you talk about somebody got disciplined in school, they were punished. So this idea of discipline as being punishment, it's not unusual. We would think of it that way. It's somehow we understand that in discipline is in some ways facing a punishment. But that's not the original meaning of the word. And we know this as Christians because we know that Christ called 12 disciples. The original meaning of the word discipline was to be a disciple. Look at the word. It's the same root word, discipline, disciple. And that means a student. To be a disciple is to be somebody who is a student of someone else, or of their teaching, or of their way. And so to engage in discipline is to engage in learning under someone else. That's what it means to be a disciple. That's what it means to have discipline, to be a disciple, to be a learner. And I think there's so much that we could find useful if we understand that to have discipline is not something you have or don't have. It's something that you choose. And if we can get past this idea of discipline as punishment and really run past that, and you kind of gonna have to run past it, straight to the things that I want to be disciplined in are the things that I want to learn, who I want to follow, who I want to be a disciple of. And the quicker we can make that switch in our minds and in our hearts, the more discipline we're going to have, and we're going to do the things that take discipline. So let's bring this to bear on the topic of prayer. A poet, and I don't know it apparently. Most of us, we say, well, if I was more disciplined, I'd be better at praying every day. Really think about it. If I was a disciple, I would pray more every day. If we really want to be a disciple, and this is really a big question we have to ask ourselves, do we really want to be a disciple of Jesus Christ? And if we don't, then it makes sense that we find it hard to pray. If we say we do, and I want to be a disciple of Jesus Christ, I want to learn from him, I want to learn his way, then to put it clearly and bluntly, you got to show up to class. You can't be a disciple of somebody and not go and sit and listen and learn their teaching. So, if we're going to be more disciplined in prayer, it's because we get past, as quick as we can, that feeling of punishment, heaviness, burden, obligation. Run past it, run past that idea of discipline, and run to the idea of being a disciple of Jesus Christ. If I want to be his disciple, I'm going to push past that resistance and go towards my desire of being a student of him. And then what am I going to run to do? I'm going to run to sit at his feet and to listen to his teaching, to speak to him, and as important, if not more important, to listen to Christ, the teacher. That's the number one thing he's called in the Bible. He's the teacher. And if we're going to be disciplined, it's because we're going to be disciples of him and learn the discipline that we need to have to be his disciple. You know, we can use this in every area of our life too, not just in our prayer. You can use the same shifting from discipline as burden slash heaviness slash punishment, and put it towards discipline as this is the person that I want to learn to become. That could be in how we face our working out, our physical, taking care of ourselves physically, in our work, to stay focused on the most important things that we do in the time that we're at work, whatever area. But especially we want to use this idea of being disciplined, getting past the idea of punishment and running towards the idea of being a disciple, a learner of Jesus Christ. That's what's going to motivate us to pray, and to pray regularly, and to pray deeply. I hope you found this helpful, and if so, please share it on your social media platforms. And God willing, we'll see you in next week's video.